Hello, in this video I would like to discuss various political objections to my hypothesis on HIV transmission. This is a very good topic because I don't need to give individual scientific sources here because I only discuss the political implications or side effects of this theory. Now, the following political objections to my theory stem from discussions on YouTube here with HIV/AIDS researchers, with numerous MSM on dating websites, numerous MSM men who have sex with men on dating websites, and with fellow students with whom I discussed the theory. Actually, so far there was only one fellow student who had the balls to discuss the theory with me. Now, these political objections, they cannot possibly decide, as they are political objections, they are not scientific or factual objections. They cannot possibly decide on the truth or falsity of the hypothesis itself, but they seem to have such a strong cultural and social impact that they should be explicitly evaluated here. First, in addition to being unorthodox, to many minds this theory is unspeakable, indecent, mad, devilish. With little exaggeration, it may represent a further great wound to humanity's white, male, heteronormative pride and narcissism after Copernican, Darwinian, and Freudian revolutions. The conservative... Now, as I would like also to make this accessible for the general audience, Freud, this theory of great wounds to humanity's pride and narcissism, stems actually from Freud, from Sigmund Freud, the famous psychoanalyst, and he said that humanity had to suffer three great wounds, three great, disappointments in how human beings perceive themselves, or how man perceives his position in the cosmos or in the universe. Copernicus revealed that the Earth is not at the center of the universe, or not even at the center of the solar system, but that the Earth revolves around the sun. Darwin uncovered that human is not an extraordinary special species, but that we are great apes. And Freud uncovered that man is very often not even the master of his wishes, of his desires, or of his intentions, but that the unconscious governs many actions of men and women too. The conservative macho... Now, why is this also a great wound to humanity's pride and narcissism? The conservative macho view that vaginal intercourse is the intrinsically correct, healthy, or God-given type of sexual activity has been taught by many religions and states. They had probably derived it from some kind of traditional prehistoric gut morality or gut feeling, which maybe few of us, including myself, have overcome, which maybe few of us, even I have not totally overcome this. I am quite ready to admit that, which maybe few of us have overcome completely in the unconscious. In the same breath, anal intercourse has often been regarded as intrinsically wrong, sinful, criminal, aggressive, and against nature. This part of traditional human gut morality may now appear to be totally flawed. Not only now means after my theory now. This part of traditional human gut morality may now appear to be totally flawed, not only for modern cultural, social, or philosophical reasons. Bentham already refuted all the common objections, common ethico-legal objections against homosexuality already in the when did he live, in the 17th or 18th century. There was an essay, well, it's called On Pederasty, but it's actually on what we now would call homosexuality, and he refuted all the common arguments against homosexuality already in the 17th, 18th century. So, but now this traditional human gut morality that condemns anal intercourse, this may now appear to be totally flawed, not only for modern cultural, social, or philosophical reasons, but also for purely biological ones. The idea that the vagina first had to be shaped by evolution within our own species, and rather recently at that, in order to reduce the risk of STI transmission, is disconcerting to the conservative mind, to the mind that is far from evolution, far from free thinking, etc., far from freedom. This is the theory that the vagina first had to be shaped by evolution in order to reduce the risk of STI transmission is disconcerting to the conservative mind, as is the idea that the only remotely health-related issue with anal intercourse is probably confined to the unfolded circumference of the anoderm, of the skin of the anus, of the circumference of the skin of the anus, a factor which even seems easy to modify. This is disconcerting to conservatives. I understand, or at least I can try to understand how they think, the conservatives. So this objection to my theory that it is devilish, that it is mad, that it is indecent, this objection to my theory relies almost entirely on narcissism, taste, or disgust, on this male macho conservative pride and narcissism. Therefore, I cannot possibly rebut it by anything other than recommending psychotherapy to those who are unable to live with these ideas. Two other prominent political objections rely on offense. The first one is that my hypothesis is racist, or at least puts the blame on a specific ethnic group. Yet upon close examination, my theory takes the blame away from Africans and African Americans. In the past, they have been reproached for behavioral properties allegedly specific to them in the framework of HIV prevention. It was claimed that their poverty was responsible, their promiscuity, their supposedly aggressive and wild sexuality. In reality, however, in HIV/AIDS research, we simply might have overlooked a crucial factor for HIV spread, that African Americans and Africans, just as MSM, just as men who have sex with men, could not possibly have been aware of themselves, let alone could know how to modify. Physicians, doctors, were with respect a little careless in examining the high-risk groups in the anogenital area. A possibility that is completely understandable given the taboo of these body regions and the reluctance to talk about the physiological details of copulation, fucking, in general and especially in the physician's office. Nonetheless, this negligence or shyness might have been a fatal mistake for millions of people. It's a two-sided thing here. It's not only the doctors that are to blame, but it's also the patients who are to blame, who did not talk to their andrologists or proctologists about sexual dysfunction, having pain, experiencing pain during anal intercourse, or in Sub-Saharan Africa, having pain during vaginal intercourse. Nonetheless, this negligence or shyness, as I said, might have been a fatal mistake for millions of people. About 30 million of people have died now due to this virus, this homophobic and racist virus. Indeed, metaphorically, as I often said in many other videos already here, indeed, metaphorically, HIV might have employed a cultural, psychological camouflage over and above its various covers and tricks on a cellular and clinical level, which could prevent discovery of its exact transmission strategies successfully for over 30 years now. Now, the second objection that is based on offense is that the theory is itself macho in the sense that, as someone on a dating website mockingly put it, maybe we only need to bore up your orifices and then this problem will disappear. But again, that was actually, now start to be gossipy again and to diss other people in a way. He was a medical journalist even. This came from a medical journalist, this objection. Merely political. No scientific basis that supports it. And it is even politically wrong. This is the point. Again, upon close examination, the exact opposite is the case. This theory, even if it should turn out to be true, does not force anyone to be penetrated. On the contrary, it takes away the force in a way. If one does not wish to be penetrated, nobody should do it. But if someone does wish to be penetrated, and there are millions of people around who wish to be penetrated, I myself wish to be penetrated at times, or very often even. But if someone does wish to be penetrated, it should happen without any pain or trauma and with maximum sexual pleasure. It should be enjoyable and fun. And this goal might be achieved either through regular intercourse or regular self-dilation, a treatment probably devoid of any harmful side effect. It only has the few harmful side effects that may be associated with copulation, with sexual intercourse. So this goal might be achieved either through regular intercourse or regular self-dilation, a treatment probably devoid of any harmful side effect and with patient-friendly application intervals, which would probably boost adherence in comparison with microbicides or pre-exposure prophylaxis. Microbicides against HIV or pre-exposure prophylaxis has failed so far, mainly, or this is what people say, what scientists say, they failed mainly because of adherence problems. People don't want to use these microbicides all the time, or don't want to take those pills all the time. They're relatively safe. The current HIV medications get better and better all the time, but they still do have some side effects. They also have some side effects in the long run. Some minor, but also in some cases major side effects. Now, but this treatment is very patient-friendly. Patient-friendly application intervals, judging from the infection dynamics in female sex workers in Sub-Saharan Africa, or from studies on anal dyspareunia or on anal dilation in the framework of anal fissures. The intervals may be a few days, 2 to 5 days, 2 to 6 days. It may be individually different. People have to find out for themselves what those intervals are that guarantee a smooth and healthily wide anogenital caliber. They have to find that out for themselves. Now, on the other hand, nature herself, however, might have forced non-black women to be almost constantly ready for sexual intercourse. In a way, in MSM, in men who have sex with men or in black persons, there has to be a conscious choice in order to be able and fully willing for intercourse, at least for pleasurable intercourse. If it is supposed to be pleasant and healthy, it requires some culturally grown skill and higher cognitive functions, whereas in heterosexuals of a different ethnic origin, the act seems to happen in a primitive, non-reflective, natural fashion with impunity. Presumably, nature herself has behaved in the misogynistic, macho way described by the person quoted above by this medical journalist towards almost all non-black women in the world. But I don't do this. I require, or I call for a choice, a conscious choice. Nature, if you want to express it in a very colloquial or polemic way, nature condemned all non-black women to be sluts. Blacks and MSM are not the sluts. The sluts are, and they are not to blame for this, evolution is to blame for this, the sluts are the non-black women, whose sexuality is wild, primitive, and non-reflective. Nature did it that way. Thank nature for it. Nature has been extremely misogynistic here. A final political objection that was often raised is a pragmatic one. If these ideas should indeed turn out to be true and HIV be conquered, this is what has also often been said to me on dating websites by MSM. They feared that this would be the development. A final political objection that was often raised is a pragmatic one. If these ideas should indeed turn out to be true and HIV be conquered, what should all the people now employed in HIV prevention and treatment do for a living or for personal fulfillment? However, there will probably still be a lot to do, even in a world without or with considerably less HIV. There are plenty of other tropical infectious diseases having a disabling or disfiguring effect upon millions. Most of these diseases are either effectively treatable, preventable, or, in contrast to HIV, curable. People now concerned with fighting HIV will almost certainly find new and valuable opportunities. I find this argument almost horrible. Tuberculosis was defeated, at least in some areas of the world, and they closed the ministries of health, or the health departments of the cities closed their tuberculosis departments. Somewhere in the 20th century, there were still at the beginning those tuberculosis departments, but at the end, or after, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they closed the tuberculosis departments. Should they have continued with the tuberculosis departments, and after successful treatment of tuberculosis, I mean, what argument is this? Sure, it is sad for the people who devoted their lives their lives to this, and their passion. That is very sad. But if there is a solution, I think people should use it. This is pretty clear. Thank you.